Ernesto Valverde is seen as one of the more successful managers in recent memory for Barcelona, winning 2 La Liga titles, 1 Copa de España and 1 Copa del Rey in just 3 years at the club. Here's how you can successfully go ahead and recreate and implement his tactics into FC24. Initially, Ernesto Valverde favored the 4-4-2 system and shape, favoring a midfield diamond of Iniesta, Paulinho, of course Rakitic and Busquets, and every now and then you would see the likes of Messi either drifting out wide or staying a bit more central and looking to attack the central zones, linking up very effectively with the other midfielders. Now you will see with the system and shape that there is a very narrow approach to the attacking display, having likes of Suarez and Messi the focal points in the attack, and this does tend to leave the wider channels very vacant and ready for the fullbacks to go ahead and try and attack down either side. The tactical approach of Valverde very much does align, especially in FC24 terms, with the tiki-taka system. Now, if you did watch Barcelona between 2017 and 2020, you would not associate tiki-taka with Valverde's system and tactical approach and setup. But in terms of FC24, it does align quite well with what you will be trying to achieve. Now, essentially, the defense and the defensive style will be set to pressure on heavy touch. Compared to the Luis Enrique Barca, this version of Barcelona under Valverde wasn't well known for their aggressive pressing. And even, Enrique's Barca was heavily criticized for the lack of pressing that they would display at the time. So Valverde was very interested in keeping the shape and keeping the structure, making sure that the players were dropping into that shape and structure, making it very difficult for them to go ahead and be broken down. Now, essentially, there would be a bit of pressing. You would see Suarez and Messi occasionally pressing the back line, maybe forcing an error or two. And even in the central zones, you would also see a bit of an intense pressure, trying to have that offensive rhythm be disturbed from the opposition. So you are going to try and do that, but it's more about trying to structure your defensive approach. Now, in terms of the other defensive instructions, the team width will be set to 20, looking to compact in those central areas, looking to flood the opposition into those wider areas, which can tend to overload the fullbacks, especially because you don't have natural wingers looking to assist in those wider areas of the field. You focus on the central areas, you focus on trying to disturb, like I say, the offensive rhythm in those midfield zones. As for the depth, it will be set to 55, looking for a bit of a mid-block approach, not looking to be too aggressive and press high up the field, and that can also lead to a good defensive structure and approach for your side. The offensive outlet for this Valverde side was often described as very slow and very stagnant, and that is why for the build-up play, I've set this to slow build-up. Now, quite often, Valverde's side would look to dominate possession. I think during his time at Barca, they, on average, I think had around 60 to 61% possession during games, which is quite good. But often Barcelona fans described it as a very stagnant offensive approach, whereas the likes of Luis Enrique was very direct, very quick, would like the transitions, would like the ball to get to the forwards as quick as possible, have them try and operate and break down the opposition's backline, whereas this was a bit more methodical, building out from the back, having the goalkeeper played into the centre backs and then progressing it further forward into the final thirds, and then eventually, into that final third area. So you will have a much slower approach, but I quite like that, to be very honest with you guys, in FC24. Now, in terms of the chance creation, I have set this to balance, and of course it does line up very well with the tiki-taka approach. As Valverde is all about structure, he is very focused on the team structure when in possession and out of possession of the ball, and he was quite happy with the team setting out in this 4-4-2 system, because when they did turn the ball over or the ball was intercepted, they were more naturally already in a very good defensive structure. But in terms of the offensive outlet and the chances that you will be creating, this balanced approach incorporates both the possession as well as the forward run, system and schemes, where you might be able to overwhelm and overload in those central areas by having your midfield flood further forward and helping the forwards with trying to unlock the opposition's backline, whilst also, like I say, incorporate the possession-based brand of football, where you will see countless options making themselves available for the extra passes in and around that final third area. The offensive width for the side will be set to 20, like I mentioned earlier. With the defensive structure, it will be very compact and very narrow. Now, in terms of the offense, Valverde's side tended to try and focus their attacking outlets in those central regions, looking to try and vacate the wider areas for the two fullbacks to go ahead and try and exploit that space. Now, the likes of Elba was fantastic at being able to get forward and overlap and attack that wider left space, whereas Sergio Roberto was seen as more of a midfielder deployed as a right back, so not always being able to overload and overwhelm down that right-hand side as frequent as what the left-hand side would, but he could still fulfill that role and that job. And eventually, the likes of Semedo was brought in, and he also did a very good job when he did play for the likes of Valverde and Barcelona. The players in the box should be set to 8. Now, this will incorporate a good amount of attackers in the box waiting for the potential cutbacks. Now, they did tend to cross the ball, but it was more about the cutback situations that they would try and produce, having the fullback run along the touchline and then try and square the ball into the box, either for a Messi, a Suarez, or one of the box crashing midfielders to go ahead and try and capitalize on that situation and put the ball in the back of the net. More so the likes of Paulinho. Now, in terms of the corners and the free kicks, as per always, nothing really changes. It will be set to 4. Onto the individual player instructions and roles for the side, starting off with the front two of Lewandowski and Rafinha, who will be playing in the roles of Lionel Messi and, of course, Luis Suarez. Now, for the instructions of Luis Suarez playing as that left-sided striker, he will be set to having a base set of instructions for everything apart from the stay forward approach. He will be the outlet ball. He will be the guy that you can ping the ball into and he can hold it up. Now, I've also decided to go with a more balanced approach for his overall outlet, because you do want to have a good sense of movement and fluidity with the two strikers, having the likes of Suarez either drifting down the left-hand side or the right-hand side, not really being dictated to where he has to be. You want to give him that elements of freedom. Now, essentially, also Suarez during this time was quite good at being able to hold up the play, also being able to drop quite deep and link up with the midfield, although that was more of something that Messi would do, but he could also look to run in behind with the occasional quick through ball played in for the striker to run onto. So that's why a mixed attacking run does suit the way that he played. Whereas the likes of Messi was very central, very focused in those central areas, looking to try and combine with the midfield, but also looking to be a potential player that could drop quite deep and facilitate the offense. So you want him to stay central as well as play as a false nine, and you will see some good interchange between him and the likes of Gundogan, who will be playing in the role of Paulinho. Now, essentially, also, you want him to be able to come back on defense. This will have him drop quite deep at times and drop into those midfield zones. Your left midfielder, which at the time it was Andres Iniesta, now he will be set to maintaining a basic defensive support. Valverde didn't really require the likes of Iniesta to be able to consistently drop deep and help support the defense. Obviously, at that time, Iniesta was, 33 or so? So he was trying to also save his legs for the more offensive outlet that he could produce down the left-hand flank. And you would see quite a bit of good combination between the left back and the left midfielder. Now, essentially, you are trying to create and generate that midfield diamond at times. So both the likes of Iniesta as well as Rakitic, who will be played in as Gavi, will be set to cut inside as well as come short. Now, this will make sure that they are drifting inside quite a lot, looking to help formulate that midfield diamond, but also overload and overwhelm in those central midfield areas. And then finally, normal interceptions will be applied as well as stay on the edge of the box. Quite often, the likes of Iniesta would combine with the likes of Alba down the left-hand side, and he would look to make those runs onto the edge of the box where he could either facilitate a better offensive opportunity or potentially make a late run into the box for a potential cutback opportunity where he could potentially go ahead and put the ball in the back of the net himself. More centrally, and Paulinho was seen as the guy who could play as the attacking midfielder or even fill in for the likes of Lionel Messi as that striker. So you want him to be able to get forward as well as get into the box. Quite often, Paulinho would even overlap the two strikers and be a very good offensive threat in that final third area. He will also provide a lot of the bite in the midfield zones, looking to impose himself very well on the opposition, winning the ball back in those midfield zones, whilst also looking to be a very good counter-pressing player and filling in for the likes of a Messi or a Suarez when looking to press the opposition's back line. A player like Sergio Busquets was essential to the system, as the two centre-backs would often split and have the likes of Sergio Busquets drop in between them and be the deep-lying playmaker, looking to run the game from those deeper areas in the midfield, whilst also being able to successfully help the side establish that first phase build-up play. So his defensive behavior will be set to maintaining a balanced defensive support or approach, whilst also having him stay back while attacking and conservative interceptions. I've mentioned this in past videos, but Busquets has never been one of those players to aggressively run around and impose himself on the game. He's quite happy to read the game, position himself in the best possible places to either intercept or break up the play, or just try and, prevent the opposition players from overwhelming and overloading the Barcelona backline areas. And then finally, he will be set to being the deep lying playmaker. Like I said, you want him dropping into the half spaces, showing for the ball in that first phase builder play, whilst also looking to successfully go ahead and establish a good offensive platform for the other players to go ahead and build up off of. So Rakitic in this situation was deployed as a right midfielder, but again, he does tend to drift inside a fair amount and overload and overwhelm in those central areas. But the key difference that we do see between the likes of Iniesta and Rakitic was very much expected to be able to drop quite deep, help support on the defensive end. So he was seen more of as a box-to-box player, although he was, a lot of Barcelona fans also said this, but he was very wasted, especially in those years with Valverde being deployed out wide. He was a much better player in the central zones when playing in a 4-3-3 system, deployed as that wide or that right central midfielder. So you will see him being deployed as the right midfielder, but he will be told to come back on defense while still being able to drift inside, combine very well with the other midfielders and of course the two strikers, but looking to be a wider playmaker essentially in this system. You would also want him to be set to normal interceptions, and then of course, just like with Iniesta, stay on the edge of the box where he might be able to go ahead and make those late box runs, or alternatively look to rotate possession and make sure that he is facilitating the best possible offensive outlets for the other players. The two fullbacks at that time was the likes of Sergio Roberto and of course the likes of Elba down the left-hand side. Now, both of them will be set to join the attack. You want both fullbacks consistently bombing down at the left and the wider right channels, looking to work into that space because more so your offense will be situated in the central zone, so you will have quite a lot of space to work with and work into with your fullbacks. Now, you'll see here that I have set this to conservative interceptions. This will help keep the structure of that back four very much intact, like I mentioned quite a lot during this video. But Valverde was all about structure and making sure that his back four were always in place. So yes, they had to bomb down and attack, but they also had to make sure that they were back in time to be structurally sound with the other defenders. Now, the only change that we will see between the two is the fact that Roberto was a player that could either overlap and attack in that wider right space, or potentially underlap and invert into the midfield and help, you know, in those central zones. So that's not why I've more or less set him to having a mixed approach. But otherwise, the defensive positioning will be set to stick to position. And as you'll see here for the left back, he's got the same role and instructions apart from the overlapping run, consistently looking to bomb down the wider left channel and supply crosses and mainly cutbacks into the box for the likes of a Lionel Messi or a Luis Suarez. The two centre-backs at that time was the likes of Gerard Piqué and of course Samuel Umtiti, who in Valverde's first season had a very, very, very good season. Now you will see here that for their instructions, I have set it to conservative interceptions for both, and this will again keep the structure of that back four very much intact, making it very hard to go ahead and try and break them down. Now, you do want your defenders to be able to obviously defend and block shots and make sure that they are getting in the way, but also when building out from the back, having the likes of ter Stegen pass the ball either into a PK or an MTT. Now, essentially, MTT was the ball-playing centre-back. He was the number one option when trying to play out from the back because he could collect the ball under pressure and under the opposition's press, turn and run into the midfield, or alternatively find a quick around the corner pass either into the left back, the center defensive midfielder, or further forward into the attackers or the other midfielders. So he was the guy that would essentially help Barcelona in those very tight situations when trying to play through the opposition's press. But otherwise, in terms of the instructions that we can change, there's nothing really that you need to do apart from conservative interceptions. And then finally, the likes of ter Stegen, who also had a very good season that year, was probably the best goalkeeper in the world in that 2017-2018 season. He would be set to come for crosses, being very aggressive and proactive in the air, looking to try and help alleviate the stress and the pressure on PK and MTT and Busquets at times with his great aerial presence. And effectively, you want him to be a sweeper keeper. Now, I do know that you aren't playing the highest of lines, you are playing a mid-block. But every now and then, the likes of PK and MTT could have been caught out with a potential through ball over the top. And the likes of ter Stegen was very proactive and reactive and made those runs off of his line to essentially, you know, break up the play and cut out any potential attacking outlets just in behind the Barcelona backline defense. And there you go, my dudes. That is how I would successfully go ahead and implement Valverde's tactics into FC24, and more specifically the 4-4-2 tactics, because I do know that he did play a 4-3-3 and he even attempted a 4-2-3-1 system at some point. But this is more or less the system that generated the most success at Barca, obviously helping them win the La Liga title and amounting 93 points in his first season. And it was largely down to this formation and having the likes of Messi drop into the midfield and really try and help run that midfield zone as best as he possibly could. He did his best Xavi impression in that year. So anyways, you guys will have to let me know down below in the comment section how you like the overall tactics for your career modes or just general play. And whilst you're there, don't forget to smash the like button as well as subscribe if you are new to the channel and you do like the content. Of course, FC 25 along with NBA 2K25. Why did I say NBA? I meant FIFA 2K25 will be out, within the next 2 to 3 months. I think within the next 2 months, I'm pretty sure. And they have gone and, revamped the FC 25 tactics, which does, it makes my brain go boom because we can do so much more with the tactics. So that's going to be very interesting. Another thing, we have started the Bomb Squad Gaming Discord server. So if you have Discord and you would like to join, we chat everything tactics, we chat FC 25, we chat real life football. If you want to join, go ahead. The link will be down below in the description. But let's hop on into a game where we can, more or less discuss these tactics in further detail. Okay, people, kicking things off here with our fantastic 4-4-2 diamond formation with, of course, Ernesto Valverde's tactical approach from basically the 2017-2018 season versus Atletico de Madrid. Now, they will pose as a very good defensive outlet. It'll be very tough to go ahead and try and break them down with this system. Now, I must say, I really do like this system and how it sets out and how it plays. Immediately down the left-hand side, crossing it to the back stick, and it's a great defensive header. We can almost win it back there. The likes of the defensive midfielder is there to recover it and sweep up and mop up just in front of the back four, winning the ball back, progressing it further forward, drawing in the foul, and giving us a dead ball situation early doors. So we are just going to float this one into the box, done so with great aplomb, and it's a fantastic save from the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper. We've got a corner kick here, and I do like the short corners. Back into İlkay Gündoğan, who has put a great ball into the box, and it's just dealt with very well from Atletico Madrid's backline defense. So far, the tactics are displaying quite well. I do want to see a bit more movement, and you will be seeing a lot of movement up front between the two strikers, and they will look to alternate with which side they attack down and under, and it does tend to set up quite nicely. Antoine Griezmann pops off a shot, and look who's there. The same goalkeeper as it was, what was it, like 8 years ago. And yeah, they're also looking to take the shorter corner, defending it quite well. And just playing it back to the goalkeeper, who will look to play it into the likes of Gerard Piqué. Now, moving the ball into the wider right channel. Lays it off into the striker, who will look to return the favor back down the right-hand flank. Not really getting much there. Back into the likes of Busquets. Back into Messi. Lots of short passes. You will see a lot of short interchanges, a lot of short quick passing movements between the players, and just looking to stretch and draw out certain areas of the field that we can go ahead and successfully try and exploit with this side. Great ball, great attempt, and it's just over the goddamn crossbar as Pedri with his left foot, of course. If that was Iniesta, it's a back of the net type things, but just over the crossbar, doing a great job in unlocking this Atletico Madrid backline area. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, though. Anyways, we are going to slightly press further up the field, forcing him long and forcing him to turn the ball over in our favor. And of course, the centre-back's doing a great job in winning the ball back there. Now, of course, Atletico are playing with a back five system, which does make it quite difficult at times to go ahead and try and stretch the play and stretch them into those wider areas and vacate those wider areas for the fullbacks to go ahead and attack the free space. So it does make it slightly more challenging, but of course on this channel we love the challenges. Anyways, as you'll see here, working into the space yet again. Little layoff there from Lewandowski into Rafinha, and of course the Suarez-Messi combination play up front works to a T. We overloaded, we overwhelmed, little flick on efforts, and you're in on goal, and you put it just to the left of the, or is it the right? The right of the goalkeeper, and it's into the back of the net. That's a great overload. And as you see there, right, the two strikers playing in tandem of one another, looking to alternate their attacking runs and routes. And at that moment, Suarez was on the right, even though he's naturally positioned on the left, and Messi made that overlapping run into the left-hand side. So you will see a lot of that movement between the two, which I really, really like. And I do think it is down to the fact that Suarez has such a balanced role in this system. And it's been 40 minutes of some good, solid play from the side. Good ball, great ball. A little run off of the shoulder. Off of the shoulder of the back line there. Just rotating the play, looking to do some damage. Squeezes it into Suarez, who puts the ball in the back of the net himself. And of course, I know it's Lewandowski, but this is the role of Luis Suarez. A little bit of movement, a little bit of interchange. 1-2 passes, players stretching and opening up other spaces. And of course, the natural number 9 found a little gap in the defense and he executed the opportunity very, very well. Beating the goalkeeper at his near post, thunder rockets it into the top, or kind of, but into the back of the net nonetheless. And it is now 2-0 just before the break. So as you'll see right here, of course, a 2-0 lead in at halftime, and we have almost had around 70% possession. 69 in our favor to 31 for Atletico. Now, of course, Simeone's side will always give the ball back to the opposition and try and have them break them down and try and counter on us. And we have been very good at being able to stifle and break up any potential transitions that they might have looked to have launched versus our backline defense, because the structure is very much in play. Now, as you'll also see, expected goals of 1.2. That Suarez shot for the second goal was fantastic, but it wasn't a high XG attempt. We've had 4 shots compared to their 1. We've had 69 passes compared to 21. 69 passes to go, 69% possession, you love to see it, as well as 7 tackles compared to their 2, as well as a 93% pass accuracy with a 100% dribble success rate. For the possession stats, we have had a lot of the ball in and around their box area, looking to try and dominate more so down the left-hand side, getting a lot of touches in and around that zone. As well as for them, on the other hand, they've had a lot of touches in their own half, looking to try and work the ball in their midfield zones, whilst we have been successfully able to break up the play and try and stifle any good offensive movements that they might try and produce. And of course, those 2 slightly darker green areas in our own half have been the 1 or 2 transitional moments that they have had with the ball. The passing has been very, very good, and I do welcome that. And as you'll see there have been a lot of passes between the fullbacks and the wider players, and of course the likes of Paulinho and the attacking players just in front of him. You will see a lot of combination play centered around the likes of Messi and Paulinho in that system, and that is exactly what we've been able to successfully go ahead and display in that first half. So more of it in the second, and I will say this as well. I'm loving the fact that I don't need to make a mental note, but the goalkeeper as well as the centre backs are very involved in the build-up play and getting touches on the ball, at least from that first half. Okay, kicking things off here. Antoine Griezmann, former Barcelona man, and I'm pretty sure brought to Barcelona by Valverde and the Barcelona board, and then Valverde got sacked. But he's back at Atletico Madrid. He's back. Anyways, just looking to set up a very good, sturdy, solid, midfield zone and defense. Invite the press, invite the pressure. Great ball in. It's a great goal. You know what? That's on me, but it was a really good, well-worked offensive opportunity from Griezmann into Rodrigo de Paul, who made a very good attacking run there. And it's literally, it's one of those situations. But we will build again, we'll go again. It just irritates me that it's goddamn 6 minutes in to the second half and they've scored a goal. That'll give them a bit more confidence, or maybe it might invite them to attack us a bit more, and that can leave quite a few holes in the back line of this Atletico Madrid very tough and sturdy defense. You'll also see that I am using the runners out wide, which are the fullbacks, instead of trying to run with the likes of the left and the right midfielder. Wow. But yes, you will see that the likes of Rakitic and Iniesta, they could carry the ball over long distances. Of course they could. But they weren't really known for that, so therefore they would interchange passes quite a lot, and you would see them lay the ball off into an Elba or a Semedo or a Sergio Roberto, who would then go and carry the ball over large distances up and down the left and the right-hand channels. Angel Correa looking to charge down this side here, but it's dealt with very, very nicely. We are going to go along with it. It has come off of an Atletico Madrid player, but it's fallen to our right back, and we are just calm and composed, playing through this Atletico Madrid press. We are having a lot of freedom down this right-hand flank. I will give some credit here. Cutting it back baseline, and it's just intercepted and gone out for a corner kick, where we will look to go short with it yet again. Back into Ilkay Gundogan. He's going to float an effort into the back post area, and oh, Oblak just equal to it, unfortunately, coming off of the Atletico Madrid backline man. And they're punting it long. They've gone long with it. The defensive midfielder is there to recover nicely. And just back to our goalkeeper, who will then play it around this first line press. Good block, good efforts. They really are trying to have a go at us now. Atletico have a throw in. They've done a great job. There we go. There we go. Quick movements. Quick ball. Back of the net things. And it's a quick transition. Sorry, I was so focused on making sure we scored there. But it's a quick transition moment. They were pressing very high up the field. And just because we have the ball playing abilities and the unique skills of BSG, who is absolutely amazing at this game, we've played through their press and we've created a very easy opportunity simply by keeping the ball and simply by laying off the easier passing opportunities, which is quite nice to say the very least. Okay, they are looking to attack down the left-hand flank, but our defense is there to deal with it. I'm trying to clear the ball far away, and Rodrigo de Paul is there just to capitalize and pounce on the man, pounce on the mistake, and puts the ball in the back of the net. Now things are getting very interesting as the game winds down. Playing it out from the back, looking to move the ball quickly up the field. And that's a foul, ref. That is a foul, and that will be full time. A 3-2 win for Barcelona versus Atletico de Madrid. Now, I will say the defense is very good. I made a few errors that led to their 2 goals early on in the second half, sorry. And then the second goal that they scored was very, very avoidable. Don't press X, mash square, clear the goddamn header, and you should be fine. But otherwise, a very good display of the tactics under Valverde for that Barcelona side. The end of the match facts read as 62% possession in our favor for the entirety of the game. They did definitely step up their aggressive pressing and their approach in that second half. They were very proactive with what they were trying to do on the offensive end. They did try and look after the ball as well. So, you know what? Fair play to them. They did step it up, but it wasn't good enough because we had already won the game in that first half with 2 fantastic goals. Passes, 129, almost 130 compared to just 53, as well as 12 tackles to their 7. So not a bad display. And to be fair and to be honest, Valverde's time at Barcelona, the average possession was around, like I said, 60 to 61%. We got 62% overall. So very capable of dominating possession, but also very capable of, at times, just setting back and setting into your defensive structure and making it very difficult to try and string together those midfield central passes, which is quite nice. But anyways, until the next time, until the next one, I hope you guys have a smashing goddamn day, and I'm out of here. Peace.